Good Tuesday afternoon, everybody. I'm meteorologist Tim Pandajis here with your updates on Tropical Storm Epsilon. It is October 20th, 2020. All right, here's the latest. We are 40 days away from the 2020 season coming to an end. Now, that's just on a calendar. Mother Nature doesn't follow a calendar. In fact, we look back at the most historic hurricane season, 2005. We actually had several storms outside of the season. The last named storm of the season was Zeta, which actually happened in December leading into January. So not saying that's going to happen this year, but it's something to keep in mind. But we can look forward to November 30th, the end of the season officially. Epsilon is out there right now, a tropical storm. It is strengthening. It is forecast to become our 10th hurricane of the 2020 season. And that's record-breaking, it'll be in the record books, all right? Let's just say that on more for one instance. Since 1850, we've only had 15 seasons that have had 10 or more hurricanes. So this would be the 16th season if, in fact, it does strengthen, which it's looking like it is. Wait until you see it on satellite. It's looking a lot healthier than it was yesterday at this time. Here's a brief overlook of the entire Atlantic basin. I'm just going to briefly hit on this tropical wave here south of Cuba in the southern Caribbean. Hardly any chance of development coming out of it. It's actually been lowered in the next 48 hours. We're at 0%. Within 5 days, we're at 10%. So nothing to worry about right now. There is some models that try to spit something out in the Gulf of Mexico, but that's far down the road. We'll just focus on what's going on with Epsilon. Let's look at the season so far and how we're doing up against the NOAA forecast that was put out earlier in the season. Predicted 19 to 25 named storms. We're over that now. Up to 26 named storms with the development of Epsilon yesterday. We're at 9 hurricanes, right in that threshold that NOAA said. And major hurricanes, we have 3, and we're right on the low end of that threshold there, between 3 and 6. Overall, the hurricane names, we're up to Epsilon here. 2005 ended with Zeta. We'll see if we get to that or if we even surpass it. Now, I got a lot of questions on the YouTube stream yesterday, and really in a lot of videos since we entered the Greek alphabet, asking, can a Greek letter name be retired? Well, according to the World Meteorological Organization, the WMO, if a storm is disastrous enough, it would be included in the list of retired storm names, yet still be available for use in the future. So that's different from the regular list of names. The name's retired and it's no longer ever used again, but you can't replace letters with other letters because there's only one in the Greek alphabet. So the short answer on all of it, kind of. All right, here's how it looks. Tropical Storm Epsilon right now. Yesterday when we talked, 40-mile-per-hour winds. We're up to 60, so it is strengthening. And the presentation here on satellite is a little bit more impressive. We're looking at the infrared imagery here, the temperature of the cloud tops. When we're looking for the shades of black and white showing up there, that is very tall thunderstorm clouds, colder cloud tops, more intense. And we're actually even seeing the convection wrap around a more defined center right now. And in the last couple of images here, you can kind of see that there's potentially maybe the first hints of an eye starting to organize there and maybe clear on out. We'll see if that continues as the trend is forecast to keep it strengthening here over the next 24 to 48 hours. Bermuda, 615 miles off to the northwest of the system right now. And I will tell you the latest computer models are showing better signs for Bermuda seeing less of an impact here as the storm looks to pass well to the east right now. That's not to say it can't change. It certainly could, but right now things are looking a little bit better. Here's a look on visible satellite imagery. It's got that moisture feed from the south, definitely looking more like a tropical system presenting here on satellite imagery, getting a little bit darker here as we see the sun setting on the visible satellite imagery there. There is a ton of dry air, though. Back off to the west and see that tongue getting pulled down to the south. And with the convection developing around the center there, it's doing a good job of kind of walling itself out and not sucking in some of that dry air and then training it into the system would kind of make it sputter like an engine. But not looking like that's happening, at least right now. Sea surface temperatures have never been a problem. The entire Atlantic is running above average with the anomalies, but the sea surface temperatures here on the forecast track with Epsilon, well above the threshold needed. You need like 79, 80 degrees Fahrenheit, and we have that even as it gains latitude and passes well to the east and northeast of Bermuda. Here's the official storm track from the National Hurricane Center. We're going off the 2 o'clock advisory here in terms of the stats. This is the 11 o'clock forecast cone, and you can see that cone of uncertainty now no longer includes Bermuda. Now, you also have to keep in mind that impacts are always felt outside of that cone. The storm itself is pretty large, and all of the impacts aren't just inside that shaded area. They extend out. So even though the cone is outside of Bermuda, we're still going to see some effects there, likely some high surf, maybe even some of the outermost bands bringing some rainfall, some squalls, and potentially even some stronger winds, depending on how large the wind field is at that point. Let's look at the GFS ensemble with the 21 members. This is the most recent run. All members now are well to the east. That's some good news, because look at the comparison to yesterday morning when this was significantly farther off towards the west and looking at a pretty good chance of some impacts in Bermuda. Now that is shifted off to the east. So good news there, thumbs up. But out ahead of it, though, tropical storm watches are up for all of Bermuda, and that means within the next 48 hours to 36 hours, tropical storms conditions are expected or even likely. All right, that's the latest today on Epsilon. Pretty quiet, with the exception of that storm out there in the Atlantic. Hopefully it stays that way. If you have a question between now and next time we do a video, you can find me on Facebook, Meteorologist Tim Pandajis, or on Instagram. Post lots of pictures of my dog Bentley on there if you want to check it out. And then on Twitter as well at 13 Tim Pandajis. We'll see you again tomorrow.